Okay. So I just typed in giraffe, and I'd like you to just to type in any animal. Doesn't really matter what, just some kind of animal. And first, I'd like you to go to Tools on the right. So if you look just underneath the search bar, it says Tools right here. So you want to click on that. And then over on, once you hit Tools, over on the left it says Size. So you want to click on Size, and then larger than 2MP. So the reason you do this is so that you're going to get a high resolution image, because you're going to be working with these images, and you're going to want them to be as high resolution as possible, and you'll see why. So 2MP, and then only the images that you've got here are the ones that are on here now are high resolution. Okay, so pick an image, and when you pick it, just click on it. Pick one that has a background. Don't pick one that has a white background. Pick something that has like a busy background. And we want to just save this image. So there's a specific way to do this. And if you try to save one of these thumbnail images, meaning the smaller ones, then when you bring it into your Photoshop, it's going to be way too small to work with. It's going to be grainy. It's not going to look good. So you always have to click on it first, and then when it gets bigger, you want to save this image. So in order to save it, hold down the Control key. This is like right-clicking on it. So you're basically right-clicking it, but on a Mac, it's Control, hold down Control, and then click, and then go to Save Image As. All right, now, if you rename your image, just make sure you keep the .jpg at the end. Some of your names are not going to have that .jpg, just leave it. If you want to be safe, just don't rename it. Just leave the name exactly as it is. You want to save it to your documents. So again, that was Control, hold down Control, click on the image. I'll do that again. Hold down Control, click on the image, go to Save Image As. Okay, so some of you, I think that it's this. If it doesn't come up as this one, you have this one right here. So you click on this little arrow to the right, and it'll make it bigger. And you want to save it to your documents. Don't save it to the desktop or to downloads, because if you do, then it'll only be on that computer. Okay, so I'm going to save this. You'll hit save. And I already saved this, so I'll just cancel out. All right, the next thing that you're going to be doing is bringing up Photoshop CS6. So everybody should have that loaded at this point. And you want to make a new file. So you'll go to File, and then New. And you'll get this menu right here. And it doesn't really matter your width and your height, don't worry about that. But what's really important is that your resolution is at least 300. And that should be pixels per inch. And then your background for this particular one needs to be transparent. So make sure your background is transparent, your resolution is at 300. You can name this file if you want. Name it whatever you want, like giraffe or something like that. Whatever it happens to be for yours. And then hit OK. And then you should get something that looks similar to this. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to take that file that you just saved and we need to put it into here. So you'll go to File and then Place. And then once you hit Place, then you can grab the picture, find it, and just hit Place. And you'll get your picture put in here, but it'll have an X through it. So File and then Place. Did you go File and then Place? And then you found that file that you would... Did you rename that file? You probably renamed it without the .jpg. So you need to resave that file and don't change the name on it. Okay, so now you've got this image, and if you want to resize the image, you just go to the edge of it. Now you want to hold down the Shift key when you do this, because that will keep the same proportions. So if I hold down the Shift key and I move it back and forth, you can see that it keeps the same proportions. If I do not hold the Shift key down, then it might stretch it too much and it makes the picture not its original proportions. That's what you don't want to do. Okay, so once you have it the size you want it, you can either go up and hit the check box up here, or you can just hit return, and then it'll take you to like where you can do whatever you want to it. So in order to resize it again, like let's say that you hit return and you want to resize it again, just press Command T and that will bring you back to where you can resize it to a different size. So you can do that as many times as you want. Hit return, Command T will get you back to that, return. That's how you do that. So anytime you want to resize an image, remember that Command T. You're going to use that a lot. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to erase everything around this animal. So you go to your eraser tool, which is about halfway down in your toolbar. So your toolbar is the one on the far left. And so you'll go to the one that looks like an eraser and click on that. And then notice you get a circle with a line through it. So just click once and you'll get this message that says must be rasterized. Just hit OK. And now you're able to erase. So before you start erasing, there's a couple of things that I want to show you on here. So look on your keyboard, the letter P, and right next to it you've got brackets. So if you hit the right bracket, it's going to make your eraser bigger. If you hit the left bracket, it's going to make your eraser smaller. You need to hit return. Either the checkbox or return. Okay. All right, so your bracket keys make it go bigger and smaller. And if you hit Command plus and minus, so right next to the delete key is your plus and minus, and then right next to your space bar is the Command key. So hold down Command with your thumb, and then the plus and minus key will zoom in. Command minus zooms out. So command plus zooms in, command minus zooms out. Your brackets, just bracket left and bracket right, make your eraser go bigger and smaller. Okay, I'll come help you in a minute. Okay, next, you want to start erasing everything around your animal. If you mess up, so look right here, if you accidentally, oops, I cut the head off this thing. If you hit Command Z, it'll go back one space. If you hold down Option Command Z, it'll go back, and just keep hitting Z, Z, Z. It'll keep going back, back, back. So if you mess up, don't worry. Like if I did this a bunch, oops, I messed up, I can just hit Option Command Z and just keep hitting Z again. It'll all just go back to what you had. Okay, so I want to Command plus to get this thing a little bit zoomed in. And I'm going to bump my eraser down a little bit. And when you're erasing around fur, it is a little easier if you take your brush and you make it softer. So in the upper left corner right here, you've got this little menu if you click right here. And where it says softness and hardness, if you move this back and forth, I'm going to have my hardness at, middle. And you notice that when you're erasing, it's sort of feathered like that. If the hardness is all the way up to 100, you can see the difference between the two right there. So when you're erasing around fur or something like that, it's just going to be a lot easier if you do it with a softer brush. And so you'll just go, oops, that's a little too soft. So I hit Command Z. And I'm going to bump that up a little more. And that's a little better right there. I might actually bump this down a little bit. Okay, so I want to erase around this animal. Just like that. In the beginning, if you want to just bump your eraser way up and just get rid of everything around it, the bulk of it, that's fine. However you want to do it. And that's pretty much it for today. I just want you to isolate this animal, get rid of everything around it. So take your time, zoom way in, and make it good. Zoom way in. You will probably want to bump your eraser down and really get detailed about erasing this.